Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello, everyone. Good day to you, good evening, and good wherever you are in the world. I hope that you're enjoying these first 5 days of September. This is Molly McCord, and thank you for joining me on this show, this podcast, where every week we talk about the energies of right now and in the week ahead. This is a place where we collectively and energetically get together to look at how we are moving through this ascension process, how we are working with the energies that are supporting us, as well as consciously acknowledging where we are feeling stuck, where we need more healing work, where we're feeling challenged, and to know that whatever is coming up, there are always ways to gracefully move through it, to understand that you are supported even when it feels a little bit harder or tougher at times. I'm so grateful for each of you who listens to this show, and I appreciate that you make time for it. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about the energies of September 5th through September 12th and what is coming up right now as we move through the 9th month of the year. September often has that energy of a turning point. Something comes up to your awareness, something comes through. It could be that you've understood something about your current life themes. The 9-year is a time of completion. It's a time when we understand what we're done with, and then it prepares us for the 10th or the first month of the year next, which is October. October being a 10 year, the 10th month of the year, and it being the number 1 and the number 10, which is often a sign of mastery. So we are moving forward as always, and I know that there are many of you who are going through some really big shifts and even some things that you're not even fully talking about in your life, but it's in your head, it's in your heart, it's in your energy. You feel new, you feel different, you felt the shift even of energies within you. And this is so normal right now for those who are on a more advanced energetic trajectory. For those who feel that you are here to help the planet, you're here to help humanity, you're here to give and be of service in some way bigger than yourself, you feel that you have expanded a lot in this lifetime. I mean, if you were to look back on your life, you can see that you've been so many different versions of yourself in one lifetime. It's quite amazing how that is a really common theme for so many people. And I wanted to share with you just quickly a little bit about the behind the scenes of my work as a professional astrologer. I've been a professional for 10 years, and I was reluctant about it for a number of years. I just did it on the side. I had all these other things I was working on, but I've always loved astrology, and I've studied it for over 25 years. I lose track of how many years. Most professional astrologers have studied it for decades. It is something where you do have to put in a lot of time and energy and effort into learning this language, this field. There's so much going on. And I am grateful to be able to connect with you in the one-on-one sessions to hear more about what you are experiencing and what's coming up in your chart. And through the years, I've worked with many people who are famous, who are in the public eye, who are, well-known. Even one of my clients is a billionaire with a B. And there's actually this great quote that's been attributed to J.P. Morgan that says, millionaires might not have astrologers, but billionaires do. And that just makes me laugh. Because it's almost like, when people come to me and they're maybe famous or whatever, I don't care. None of that matters to me. It really doesn't, because that's not what I see. That's not what you see in a chart. You see someone's energy. You see what they're learning. You see their struggles. Yeah, maybe you see their responsibilities of being famous or what it means to have a lot of money. That's also about responsibility. But that's just part of what their soul growth is in this lifetime. So I never care if someone's famous or all that stuff that defines their human experience. I care more about their energy and what they need right now. And what I can tell you is that everyone here on this planet is really moving through significant parts of their soul growth right now. And I mean at really deep levels. And I even have compassion for people in the public eye who are doing this and trying to maintain some level of normalcy and some level of balance in their world, because that's not hard when that's not easy. That's hard when you're in a fishbowl, when you're just surrounded by everyone looking at you. And so please know that the more we can have compassion for each other as souls on this journey, that we can understand that we all have things that we're here to work on, to advance, to understand about ourselves, and that not everyone has it easy, no matter what it might appear, and maybe they have more choices or they have more options because of their status or their title or their money. I was working with one woman. She's an actress, and she has a lot. And she, truthfully, she's so miserable in her life because she works in an industry where it's never good enough, and you're never really valued, and you're never really accepted. And I said to her, you just need to move to Montana and get a farm. Like, that's really where you would feel at home, and that's where you would find yourself. So she's moving through this deep process of finding herself in an industry that doesn't want you to be anyone else except who you're paid to be. And that's her soul growth in this lifetime. And so, yeah, there's certain things that she has, but what does that really mean? What's it really worth in the long run? What value does it really have? Is it, it's important for all of us to be grateful, to understand that we have blessings, to understand the good things in our lives. But, we're really stepping into the self-acceptance of who you are when all the titles and labels are removed. And what you find is that you are something so much more simpler and even grander than you realized. And that's part of what the ascension process is that there are many of us who are simply saying, I want to know who I am in a way that really honors the full alignment of my energy field, of my purpose, of my gifts. And that full alignment, that full soul alignment, it brings you incredible peace. It shifts what you used to worry about or where you held anxiety. It shifts what you thought was important and what you no longer want to put any energy towards. This is all part of the awakening process, when you are awakening to yourself, to who you really are. And we have many awakenings in a lifetime. We have many ways of understanding that we go through these different exercises, of exploring our identities and figuring out, is this what I want? Does this make me happy? And throughout life, that shifts. It's like a moving target that keeps changing. And the more that you can stay open to it, the more that you can stay open to yourself, I feel like it just lifts you up. Like you just feel that you're really up for this grand adventure. And in a way of staying open to yourself and staying open to all of you, all of yourself. And as I say that, I'm getting the image of glitter like falling from the ceiling, of like the more that you have to discover about yourself, the more that comes in, like the more downloads and understanding that you're ready to receive will continue to support you. So please know that part of the ascension and awakening is not even looking at each other through what our personas are. It's looking at it through the energy, and that's part of what you tap into as well as you move into greater alignment with your soul energy. And what I see right now is like this lifting up out of your body, right? It's like the light lifts so high out of your body naturally because it doesn't need the density. The soul's energy agrees to the density of the human body, to have this human experience, to play on this playground, to heal, to go through lessons, to participate, right, in this earthly school, as Dolores Cannon calls it, the Earth School. And yet your light doesn't need it. And so I find that what people are doing is they're shifting their gaze, if you will, their focus up higher into their own light field, which can be the essence of your soul, the essence of your higher self. It's definitely part of the spiritual and 5D energies, but you shift that gaze up into your own light field that is so much freer than the constraints of our human selves. It's like you shift up into that. It really is that place of the joy and the peace and the love for yourself that's always present. And I see this light field as being, it's limitless, but I feel it like just a few feet above your crown chakra. And so it kind of connects the chakras to the more of the spiritual energies. But that light field, if you were just to focus on it for yourself and to perhaps sit in that energy when you meditate, or just to listen to that energy, like the vibration of that part of you, it's just so peaceful. It's like there's no storms. There's no hurricanes. It's just a beautiful, balmy, peaceful day, always in that energy field. And I guess just remember you can always go there, no matter what is coming up for you, no matter, now I'm seeing the image of a hamster wheel in the head. We overthink things, and we have too much in our heads these days. We have too much stimuli. So there's a sense here of where you go to find that safe haven and that peace that you are and that you need and that's now available to us more than ever. That is one of these new energies that I felt has come in even stronger with the August 11th eclipse that ignited this whole new energy cycle that's going to keep bringing in more of the downloads and all that. That's just part of the ascension process. And we all have access to our own light field. And that's where the glitter comes from. Like now I'm saying, like, that's the glitter. That's the sense of the peace. It's very effervescent energy. So I guess I was supposed to start the show with that message. I wasn't planning on it. But that's what I wanted to offer because I feel like there's more here of understanding what you need is available to you, and it is being supplied because universal supply is unlimited. And yes, we have human lessons, and we also have really strong responsibilities right now. So let's get into that because the responsibility energy is quite intense right now as Saturn in Capricorn is stationing to go direct September 6th at 2 degrees of Cappy. And Saturn has been here, has been at 2 degrees for almost a month. August 14th is where it went back to 2 degrees, and then it stays at 2 degrees until September 29th. And I've talked about this in the previous shows. But it's really intense right now because of how Saturn is stationing to go direct, which basically means the car has been moving in reverse. You put on the brakes, right? You come to a full stop, you switch gears, and then you go forward. And as you're doing that, the car comes to that full stop after being in reverse. It has to be slow. It's a slow-moving process. So this is a slow-moving energy that's digging in. And the Saturn energy is where we are owning our adult selves, our maturity, our sense of responsibility, and our integrity. It's where we're saying, okay, I have to be very clear in myself, in my own energy, around what I can commit to that is going to perhaps require more of me, because the Saturn in Capricorn is where we work for something. It is not a free ride. It's not an easy ticket. It's not a handout. It's where you put in the time and energy and effort. And so this is where we're really looking at what you have determined for yourself since April that is really true for you in terms of what you want, what you're going for, where you're going to make a commitment to yourself to stick with it for the long term. Now, this is at 2 degrees, so it's really at the very beginning of the Capricorn energies. And it really signals a new understanding of what you're about and honoring your responsibilities, honoring the discipline, honoring integrity, all these things that make us adults, things that we can't get away with. And that's why the Saturn in Capricorn is also karma. It's also, the consequences of where you weren't in your mature energy, or where you weren't that spiritual adult, or you weren't really aware of everything that was unfolding. This is where we really say, all right, step up here. I've got to level up. I've got to really understand the power of my own energy and be responsible with it, and hold yourself to a higher level, a higher version of yourself. And this is where that mastery becomes real, because it's basically walking the talk. And I had a good conversation with one of my favorite people in the world, one of my soul sisters, the other day, about some things going on, and about how it's really easy to understand the spiritual principles in theory. And you say the buzzwords, you know what it means, and you can blah, blah, blah all day long. But how do you show up in the real world with that understanding? And she and I were talking about how, when the rubber hits the road, can people really step into that spiritual alignment of being in integrity and being respectful, of being disciplined, of really honoring who they are, when it's difficult, when you have to have hard conversations, when you have to sit down with somebody and address some things that aren't comfortable, that are really uncomfortable. Like, this is all part of the Capricorn energy, where you understand that, okay, even when something's hard, and I don't want to, I really don't want to have this conversation, it's needed, it's important, and it's understanding that both people can benefit from it, but you're only responsible for your side of the street. You're only responsible for your own energy. So this Capricorn energy of Saturn in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, and Mars in Capricorn are basically asking each of us to look at what we're doing in the real world that really is in full alignment and integrity with the spiritual principles that we know and understand. When Saturn was in Sagittarius, it was a learning experience of putting the pieces together, of understanding more about what it means to be responsible with your opinions, with what you believe, with what you know, quote unquote, with what is right. And now with Saturn in Capricorn, it's really applying it. It's saying, okay, I understood this all at one level, and now I have to really put it into use in my everyday life. So we're all being called to that in a way. And the Mars energy, Mars in Capricorn, is now at 29 degrees. And Mars will be at 29 degrees of Capricorn September 5th until September 11th. So basically about a week. And the 29th degree of Capricorn is basically the degree of commitment. What are you committing to, and what have you committed to? The 29th degree of any sign is the critical degree. It's not a disease. I promise it's not a disease. It's the point of completion. It's a completion energy where you're saying this Capricorn, Mars in Capricorn is finishing up, and you've been learning a lot about where your physical energy rises based on the commitments you make, and where you are motivated to stick with something, where you feel solid in going for what you want. Mars in Capricorn will take no prisoners and will have a strategy in place for the road ahead. It will say, this is the plan, this is what we're doing. And so that's part of what we've all been moving through is, well, what am I committing to? And now that Mars is back at 29 degrees and it's moving slowly through this last degree of Capricorn, you are really being asked to get clear about your commitments and what you want to go towards. And that's Mars. Mars is our self-assertion, our desires, where we say, I want this, and then we charge ahead to get it, to go for it, to make it happen. It is the energy of the masculine, which is in all of us. It's not about gender. It's the energy of desire. And it's understanding that our physical bodies need care too, because Mars is the physical self. And what messages is your body giving you? Mars in Capricorn, Capricorn rules the structures of your body, which include teeth, bones, your spine. So maybe, you need to go to the chiropractor, you need to go to the dentist, something is getting your attention within the structure of your body. That's also the Capricorn energies. So things are really being made clear about where your energy is meant to go. And Capricorn says no. It says, no, I can't do that. Or no, that's too much, I don't have time. I'm trying to stay focused. I need to stay focused on what is important for the long term. And with the Sun in Virgo, the Sun in Virgo is also helping with simplifying because it's discernment. It's what you really truly need that's not excessive. Virgo thinks in details, in particulars, in the small print. It's where we hone in on the necessities and we get rid of everything else. So the earth signs are really asking us right now to be grounded in the time we have in a day, the commitments we can make, the resources we have available, and to allow the excess to fall away. And I feel it as even in your energy field, like in your auric field, the excess energy of previous versions of yourself, of previous commitments, of people that you no longer need to have in your energy field, of the sense that it's clearing out, it's really, okay, I just got the image of Cinderella's godmother. I don't know if she had a name. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. What was her name? Cinderella's godmother. I just got the image of her coming in and doing a spiral cleaning of the energy field like she does around Cinderella. And she, how she changes Cinderella's energy from the rags to the beautiful gown and the perfectly done hair and the tiara. It feels like it's like that kind of a cleansing energy that really is meant to tidy it up, clean it up. The stuff that's been lingering, whether those are from the, cranky stepsisters or the chores of life or the other things. But maybe that would be a good visual of really visualizing your own godmother coming in to support this. And, the symbology of this is awesome because Cinderella would be the Sun in Virgo, where she's working away, doing her chores, taking care of the cooking, the cleaning, everything she has to do before she can go to the ball. And the fairy godmother is actually Capricorn, because Capricorn is a feminine energy. It's a crone. She's the crone. She has wisdom, experience, understanding about life, and she is the Capricorn energy that's coming in to clean up what you just don't need. And so this is quite cool, because I've never received this imagery before, but it just feels so perfect. And it also makes sense that the other archetype here would be the fact that Venus in Libra has now entered her shadow, and she's going to be going retrograde in October at 10 degrees of Scorpio. Venus in retrograde begins October 6th and goes until November 16th. And that would be the stepsisters in this archetype, the evil stepsisters of the other feminine energies that you feel are holding you back, or that have infiltrated your energies, or that are keeping you like on some level or some way you feel that these are feminine energies or archetypes that have prevented you from honoring who you are, what you're about, your soul's purpose, your soul energy from other lifetimes. And these can just be the archetypes of it, of course, but this is understanding that there is something here of honoring who you are in that whole discernment, a discernment exercise, and not being afraid to say no as needed. Mercury is finishing up his travels through Leo. And today, Mercury is at 28 degrees of Leo, and he's going to enter Virgo on September 7th. Depending on your time zone, it's either September 6th or September 7th. But this is also where Mercury in Leo is triggering the eclipse of last August 2017, the great total eclipse that happened across North America. Mercury is going over that point, so bringing up new parts of the story, new information, new details, new particulars about what is necessary for your sense of power. And, this works with each of us differently. It'll depend on how those eclipses worked with you. But this is the final journey in Leo that is meant to bring in more solid information that connects to your heart, I feel it as both your heart chakra and your solar plexus. It's connecting with the truth of who I am on my terms. On your terms. Like, this is who I am on my terms, from my well of power, from my sense of who I am and my light. So this is a strengthening energy of Mercury also traveling up to the mind and how you mentally own yourself. Because you know how we can say something once or twice, but this is about a deeper reprogramming of what you've learned about yourself since 2017. Okay, so not this recent August, obviously, but the last year. And what came through, what perhaps was your own eclipse energy and what shook you or rocked you. And now the Mercury energy is finishing it up in a way that's meant to support a new way of viewing yourself and your power that perhaps you felt disconnected from previously. And these messages are meant to be solid. Like, it's really meant to be a whole new reprogramming in your mind of the stories you tell yourself about how something went down or how something played out. Because we can spin in something or see it from one side and not see like not see the full. Okay, I'm seeing like the sun. It's like you can see one side of the sun, and then you have to travel around to the other side of the sun to see the other part of it. And it's interesting because there's no sides to the sun, right? It's a globe. I mean, it's a circle, or at least that's how it's represented to us. So there's no sides. It's just a continual sphere. And I think that this Mercury and Leo energy, as it completes, is meant to open you up to more of the interconnectedness of everything and how stories that we tell ourselves can be too linear. And how can you open up to how its potential is limitless? It's like I'm getting the image of a story can be like a flat piece of paper, but what if that story shifts to being a sphere? And it has all these dimensions, and it's multifaceted, and there's just so much more to it than you ever could have comprehended. I feel like that's part of this energy too. So stay open to what comes through around that, especially if you were hit by some big things in August 2017, because there's new parts of it that you're meant to understand right now. You really are. Then Mercury goes into Virgo, and that's where he gets down to business, and he has his to-do list, and he is checking things off and moving through the tasks and saying, all right, I'm going to make it simple for myself. I'm going to get this done and this done and this done. Mercury in Virgo is an engineer. It's this details. It's science and math and specifics and numbers and data and how we measure things and how we compute. And so it's very much about the linear things at hand and the details at hand. So the mind, Mercury actually does well in Virgo because he can be very productive. And he takes the small tasks and he gets it done. And he moves it through. And this means that the mental energy can feel smaller, but there's a sense of being productive. Like you get those small tasks done that you were putting off or that felt too overwhelming before. This is an earth sign. This is back to details, back to basics. The questions that Mercury in Virgo asks are very much about the results. So you start to look at what results do I want from this? This being a project, a conversation, an idea. You're looking ahead at, well, how is this going to be a practical exercise? So the Mercury and Virgo energy brings us all back down to earth. It adds to the earth energy that is already so big right now. And it really helps us focus on some of the details that were overlooked, that we missed the first time. So you might feel that mental shift here where, okay, now I'm ready to really focus and get some things done because this Mercury and Virgo energy is going to help with your tasks. And, it feels good. I mean, I don't know about you, but it feels like there's been so much floating. And now, now it's like I have a plan. Mercury in Virgo helps you with a plan. So look for that to shift. Again, that is September 7th, which is Friday. So September 6th or 7th, depending on your location on the planet. And what the Mercury in Virgo energy is going to do is very quickly make a grand trine to Uranus and Taurus and Saturn and Capricorn. So this is a breakthrough energy coming up this weekend where the Mercury energy goes, okay, finally, I know what to do. It's mental clarity, and it will help clear away anything that just feels like it's been sitting on your head. It really will. It'll feel like, okay, I know what I'm going to do right now, or I've got a plan about this big project. I can break it down into incremental steps. It's that kind of thing. It simplifies what was overwhelming and there's support from Uranus and Taurus, which brings you the new insights, new ideas, a fresh look at it. And then the trine from Saturn and Capricorn, which solidifies it and gives you that sense of, okay, yes, I can make this work. I can bring this together. This can happen. This is also important because it's one of the last times that we're going to have a grand trine in the earth signs. The moon will still have a grand trine. When the moon goes into Virgo, it will still have a grand trine with Uranus at 2 degrees of Taurus and Saturn at 2 degrees of Capricorn. But this energy is going to be moving on and shifting. So it's really a good time to make some things concrete for yourself and to find the stability. The other energy that we have going on right now that's significant is the sun. It's at 12 degrees of Virgo on September 5th as I'm doing this podcast, and it's about to oppose exactly Neptune in Pisces, which is at 15 degrees. And this opposition is building up. It will be exact this weekend. So Saturday, you'll feel it Saturday and Sunday. And the opposition between these energies are also part of the new moon that's coming up on September 9th. The opposition between the Sun in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces is basically your humanness is Sun in Virgo, and your spiritual higher self is Neptune in Pisces. And so you could feel this push-pull of the Pisces energy where you want to escape, you want to break, you want to just do nothing. You don't want to deal with reality. And then the Sun in Virgo that says, I need you right here. I need you in the kitchen. I need you to take care of some things. It's again, it goes back to that Cinderella analogy where a part of you wants to be in these other realms. You want to be at the ball already, but the Virgo energy, no, we got to scrub the floor. We got to take care of the dishes. Like there's work to do. So the humanness is basically feeling like it's ready for a break. And so the best way to make use of this energy is to balance it. That's what every opposition is looking for, is a balance of both energies where, okay, I'm going to work hard for a little bit. I'm going to show up where I committed to or where I said I would be and take care of my errands and my chores. But then in the rest of the afternoon, it is Netflix binging time, or I just want to sit back and read, or it's time to do nothing. Because that's what Neptune and Pisces is all about. It wants to escape. It's escapism energy. So this opposition only happens once a year. Once a year, we're basically feeling like maybe some of the demands of the world are too big or we have too much on our plates, but we need to give ourselves a break and give yourself that time to relax, revitalize, kick back. Like don't force anything because all the earth signs right now, the earth signs are workers. They're physical. They're in the physical world, and they're getting things done, and they're showing up, and they're literally doing the work that's required. So we all have that sense of responsibility right now that we're needed to do the work, and that could be through literally your job, your profession, the work you do there. But it's also about, in the earth signs, it's the work for the planet. And the work of ascension and the work of awakening. And, the information that I've received is that the planet has done amazingly well through some really big shifts, and that in some ways the Earth's timeline is ahead of schedule, if you will. Not that there's truly a schedule, but it's understanding that there have been some big wins and that there will continue to be. In fact, one of the big wins was that recent experience of the Thai cave rescue, where so much of humanity contributed their energy and their light to rescue all of those boys from a very dark situation. So it really demonstrates that the light is showing up. The light is getting brighter. The light is shining on a lot of things. It's shining on the sexual abuse cases. It's shining on politics. The light is shining on all of these 3D structures that are actually meant to be dissolved and rebuilt and to be essentially restructured. But that takes time, especially in the 3D time-space paradigm. But energetically, there's been so much light brought onto the planet through all the mass awakenings, and I feel it as a recognition of each person who has committed to their own awakening process and their own opening up to themselves and what is possible, to opening up to the bigger spiritual principles of love, unconditional love, forgiveness, compassion, joy, and what all that means and how it's limitless. It's not even about anything within the 3D paradigm. It's limitless energies. So I feel like there's a lot here. It's like, okay, light workers need a break too, right? Like you have to give yourself time off to just relax and to not feel like you have to keep doing it all or work yourself to the bone. That's not what this is about. And there's so much that's already unfolded that's been successful. So the energy right now is saying, okay, yes, there's stuff to do and there's work to be done and there's more miles to run on the marathon, but we're doing it and we can't exhaust ourselves in the process. I have a separate video on YouTube about the really awesome Virgo New Moon on September 9th, where I dive into that energy and everything that's going on in that chart. But just to give you a heads up, it's at 17 degrees of Virgo, and it trines Pluto at 18 degrees of Capricorn, and it sextiles Jupiter in Scorpio, which will be at, I believe, 17 degrees of Scorpio. And it also is going to have this opposition to Neptune. So this is a beautiful new moon energy. So what you want to do is look in your natal astrology chart at where 17 degrees of Virgo is and see where this powerful energy is coming through that initiates a cleansing, a self-care, it's a very healthy energy. It's meant to support your health, your physical health, but your spiritual health. And again, it goes back to the Cinderella and the godmother who's saying bibbidi bobbidi boo and like clean up and clear out the stuff that you don't even need anymore. And be honest with yourself about that. Be honest with yourself about where you just don't need to spend your energy anymore, because it's a simplifying new moon. It's a bit like getting out the cleaners and that sense of, okay, things are meant to be spick and span, and where in my energy do I need to receive that? Every new moon is actually a time of quietness. It's a quietness. It's a listening. So make time for yourself at this new moon on September 9th to listen, to go quiet within, to be honest with what you need, with what you don't need, to allow yourself a break and some time off, and to feel the support, bibbidi bobbidi boo, of what is ready to be released and cleared out as we move through the rest of September. So I hope this has given you some good insights about right now and what September is gifting us with. Thank you so much for listening. You can find more information at mollymccord.online. That's where I offer business development resources for healers, authors, spirit guides, spirit teachers, anything you're doing in the world. I want to support you with that. And you can find more at consciouscoolchic.com, where I offer more spiritual resources to help your ongoing journey. Thank you so much, my friends. I value you. I'm offering you a beautiful namaste for this really lovely new moon energy. And I'll see you back here next Monday for another episode as we talk about the latest healing themes. So I'll see you then and have a great week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.